You're listening to the Archaeology Podcast Network.
Send in your nominations now for the APN Awards. The APN Awards celebrate the best in archaeology, heritage, history, anthropology, museum, and cultural podcasts from around the world. Open to independent, academic, institutional, and network-produced shows, the awards recognize outstanding storytelling, research communication, production, hosting, and more. Award categories include Podcast of the Year, Best Educational Podcast, Best New Podcast, Best Interview, Best Storytelling Episode, Best Host, and several fun APN-only awards for those shows hosted on the Archaeology Podcast Network. Send in your nominations before the 1st of August 2026. Public voting will then be open from the 1st of September to the 1st of October 2026, and then will culminate in a live awards show on the International Day of Archaeology, so October 17th, 2026. Find out all information and send in your nominations through the Archaeology Podcast Network website.
You have my sword.
And you have my bow.
And my trowel.
Hello, you're listening to episode 71 of And My Trowel, where we look at the fantastic side of archaeology and the archaeological side of fantasy. I'm Tilly.
And I'm Ash.
And today we're going to be slightly continuing our last conversation that we had about Hobbitson and the settlements, but today we're going to be focused on that absolutely typical Hobbit symbol, which is the door.
The door.
The door. Well, and the building attached to it. Like, we're not just going to do a whole episode about the door, because
I mean,
I
think we have to slow down, Tilly. We're blasting through the Hobbit here. I don't think we can. I think we have to slow right down. We're not going to have enough episodes, honestly.
Yeah. Well.
Yes, of course. Anyway.
So yeah, last time we talked a little bit about like the difference between nomadic and settled society and permanent settlements and how that happens. And I mean, we were talking about how Hobbiton is like the ultimate settlement of all settlements. Yes, exactly. Settlement McSettlement. And yes, so yeah, buildings are also an important thing. And we have done an episode on this before, we should say. So we did an episode, I can't now remember which number it was. I will look it up and I will reference it in the show notes. But we did an episode about the prancing pony. Where
we went for a couple of pints to the prancing pony.
And then we also had to do a historic survey.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So we have talked about it before, but this one is particular to Hobbiton, I think, more than anything. And we'll kind of go over a little bit of buildings from prehistory all the way into really the modern period too, and talk about how buildings have developed over time.
Yes.
But as we said in the previous episode, the most iconic thing about a Hobbit, or even Lord of the Rings, it's actually on my front of my cover of my Hobbit book.
Yes.
Is the door.
It's all of them have that circle, huh?
They all have a wee
classic
circle.
one. They've all got a circle of some sort. So yeah, the door. What shape is your door, Ash?
Is it terrible rectangle?
Yeah, same.
I was like, what?
I'm so disappointed that it's not circular. Like, I would love
I see. Okay. I was like, we've actually been having a lot of discussion in our community about doors recently because all the seals are falling off our doors. So I was like, terrible door. That's why. Mine's red though, so it's not the traditional green of a Hobbit door. A Hobbit door should always be green.
Really?
I think that's pretty. Like, they are all green.
But in the book?
In the book, yeah.
Really?
I thought they were.
Find it now.
No, I think the films, they're not.
No.
But I'm pretty sure
but in the books, they're supposed to be green.
I think they're all green. In Bag End, at least. Well, yeah.
In Bag End, it is green.
Green, yeah. Bag End's green.
And they talk about it being a green door.
Yeah. Maybe they're not all green.
Yes, it has a perfectly round door like a porthole, painted green with a shiny yellow brass knob in the exact middle. Which, yeah.
But you'd still figure it out if somebody had a Hobbit door and you'd be like, oh, that's definitely a Hobbit door, even if it was red.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. They look like a Hobbit door. What I find interesting is that the brass knob is right in the middle.
Yeah, because, I mean, it would be quite a bit of a push.
You have to, have to really work it. The whole levering system, right? Like no, but they must be jacked hobbits.
But they don't.
They're opening these massive doors from the middle of the door.
Yeah, but they don't have a latch.
Wait, so are they just?
It's not like a turny knob. It's like just a knob. It's like
so they're just hanging. Does that mean that if it's really windy, they'll blow open?
No, they'll probably have like a bolt to like keep it
from
shut.
the inside to keep it shut.
Well,
But
I mean,
then-
I don't know if Bilbo's does because everyone seems to go in and out of his house.
And then if they go, well, that's the thing. Then if you go out, how do you look? Okay,
Well, you don't,
and
because
then
it's
you have-
Hobbiton. No one's going to steal anything from
No one's going to
you.
steal anything. That's
It's
so interesting.
Hobbiton.
Which
Yeah.
already tells you so much. Just the door is telling
door
us so
is not
much
functional
about this
at
society
all.
because it is just a superficial like entrance.
But the door, there is no meaningful function or why it's round.
Yeah.
If you look at it mechanically, there's no reason why it's round. So that in itself tells you it's a stylistic decoration tradition over a functional one. And it's maybe something that's more group identity based than functional.
Although you could argue, what is a normal shape for a door?
I'm not saying it's a normal shape. I'm saying it's a functional shape. If you're saying it's blowing open the window.
But the shape with the roundness, I mean, though, because the door opens according to the next. If we go back to the original literature, so the door opened onto a tube-shaped hall like a tunnel. So I guess if the building itself is more
Is a
round,
tunnel shape.
is a tunnel, then it would make sense.
I always thought it was also to
door to
echo
be
the ring as well, personally. But-
Maybe, metaphorical.
Yeah, metaphorical. The ring is Bilbo, and then you think of the circle, and then it's very good. Like my Hobbit one, it kind of turns into the ring on the page.
Interesting. My one is the sun over the lonely mountain.
Yes, that's on my Gaelic one as well. But my Hobbit one, I got. It's the major motion picture one.
Oh, I see. I see.
My old copy is at home, but So, I mean, I don't think that there's a structural reason to have it, but you're very right in saying what is a door because in your most famous of sites that you've ever been to, Chatelhoek doesn't have a traditional door. They go through the roof.
They go through the roof. So they would walk along over the roofs and then would go down through a ladder and into the buildings, which is
that's totally different.
Yeah. And it makes more sense in terms of and actually you still have that kind of structure in a lot of other cultures around the world even today. Yeah. Because in terms of, again, you're adapting to the climate that you have. Because
and your roof is functional.
Yeah, exactly. You're out on the roof because that's the coolest part during the evening. You want to be out on the roof. You don't want to be stuck in your hot, stinky house. But during the day, it's a lot cooler in the house because it's more like a basement. So then, that's where...
and if your midden's right next to your wall, you're probably like...
Right, which we talked about last time.
Yeah. So is the roof really the area to socialize and like to move and do things? And then the house itself is not.
Yeah, and that's actually quite interesting. And I don't know the full details of this, but there are plenty of reports and things on this if people want to read more about it. But what I do know is that in Chatelhoek, there's a lot of study done by Ian Hodder about about sort of the post-processual ideas of interaction and that entanglement theory that he so loves. And it's all about the houses at Chatelhoek are one of his big case studies that he uses to talk about entanglement theory, because it's all about how people are maintaining the house and everything, but also the different spheres within the house and how it is separated and how you have like the really kind of family areas and then you have the production areas and then you have the public areas, and it's all really kind of separated. And they kind of have a similar thing. I'm just continuing reading on in The Hobbit, because they're saying the best rooms were all on the left-hand side going in, for these were the only ones to have windows, deep-set round windows looking out over his garden and meadows beyond sloping down to the river, which is also, so you have that kind of public sort of facing, you want to show the best part almost. You have the sort of hidden bit, which is just for the family, and then you have the kind of outward public aspect, which is also quite interesting.
It's also very Victorian.
Speaking. Yeah, right? That's
Which is Tolkien. Like, eat a bit. Why did I stumble over Tolkien there? Sorry about that.
It is a new name. We don't say it very often in this podcast.
Say it very often. It's not like I know it or anything.
We do always have that discussion about how
Tolkien or Tolkien.
Tolkien or Tolkien. Because I say Tolkien because I'm living in Germany, but then
I say Tolkien. But then I know now people say it's Tolkien. Oh my God, Tolkien. I can't do it today.
Yeah,
I think I've had too much coffee. I'm now jittery. But and there's also the ancestral kind of homes as well. There's like Tukbra and stuff, which is the ancestral Tuk dwellings. And then you also, it is like a parlor, like a receiving parlor that you find in, I'd say, Victorian society. And even the concept of like ancestral homes that people are linking back to lineage and things like that. There is a very English way of thinking about about things, and land and stuff like that too.
We talked also a bit last episode about the whole social, how it reflects your social status and everything. So also we already mentioned that like the fact that Bag End has loads of pantries, and it specifically says that in the text. It says pantries, brackets, lots of these, close bracket. So that shows the kind of status of Bilbo. And that's also, I always loved that with the whole, what was it? Was it Windows tax?
Yes, there's Windows tax was in Scotland,
Scotland, and I think in Amsterdam as well they had it, and it's always so fascinating. So then you can see that like people are basically showing off by the amount of window panes that they have. It's like, oh look, we can afford to have all these many windows because we're so rich, and then but they kind of want to make them as small as possible but still have lots, and it's sort of how
Well, that's like almost exactly the same as the hobbits digging smiles. So that's what a hobbit hole is called, is a smile. And smile is SMIALS, but it's pronounced like smiles, like when you smile.
Smile.
Yeah, but they're like the tunnel, the hobbit hole that you see, their tunnels dug into hillsides, and it's by wealthy hobbits. So it's by like when I mentioned Tukbra, so that's the Great Smiles of Tukbra. So you know that those ancestral homes are from the Tooks. Bag End is obviously it's Baggins. Brandy Hall is the Brandy Bucks. Yes. So like you have these kind of notable homes and smiles that are sprawling throughout Hobbiton, and they do show some form of like. I always love conspicuous consumption, you know. I love that term in archaeology because it is like most of the time when you find like a burial or something like that, and there's loads, and there's like 14 horses buried with you, then that's like conspicuous consumption of stuff.
These were just what? Sorry, I don't want to show off, but I do have 14
I do have 14 horses that I'm going to slaughter and bring with me to the afterlife. So like there's a conspicuous consumption of the landscape or the resources and I'm not saying that the hobbits are the colonial evil people, but it is very consumptuous use of labor to dig sprawling smiles.
And I wonder if you have any hobbit holes or smiles which then have the kind of fake prestige, so like the assumption of prestige. So for example, one of my favorite things is in Leiden in the Netherlands. I used to do quite a lot of canal tours in Leiden, because whenever I had people come visit, we'd go and do one of these boat tours. There's a really good one called, what was it called? Bagels and Boaches or something? I can't remember now.
That sounds fun.
And they were very good. And it was quite small. You'd only have a group of like 6 people, and you're sitting like in a smallish boat with a guy there, like, or, you know, a guide there, telling you about like fun facts about Leiden as you go around the canals. And Leiden has one of the largest canalways in the Netherlands in terms of a city, purely because it was so poor. And so much about why Leiden is so beautiful now is because it was so poor that it couldn't do a lot of things that a lot of the other Dutch cities were doing. So for example, closing off the canals to create roads and stuff like that. They were too poor, so they couldn't do that. But because of that means they now have like one of the largest canal systems in the Netherlands, which is really cool. Anyway, there's lots of fun stories and fun facts, and I learned so many fun facts from doing that tour. So, and one of the ones I really remember is roof tile colors, and I can't remember which way round it is. I'm pretty sure it's that the black ones were the more expensive roof tiles compared to like the sort of rust like orangey ones. And so because picture like a typical Dutch street, you've got these like tall thin houses right next to each other, right? Yeah. So when you're walking along the front, you can just see like the front little triangle of the roof on the top, and you can't see going back because it's hidden by the rest of the houses, like going back from the street. And so what they do is they put the black tiles, or the most expensive tiles, on that little front triangle, but then the rest of the house was still covered in the like cheap like orange tiles. So it's sort of pretending that you're really like rich and you can afford to like put these black tiles on your roof, but actually you're only putting on the like small little visible area at the front. And so I wonder whether with hobbits it was like, oh yes, no, we're really posh, but actually it's sort of a pretend tunnel going back, but there's just fake doors in the side and there's no actual rooms past there or something.
I feel like with hobbits though, I think because it would be mostly storage areas, surely. You know, the money aspect is how many storage areas you have and how many storage is. Then I feel that they would have, because they're a big celebrationary kind of culture.
True.
You'd have to kind of
prove it.
Yeah, you'd have to put your money where your mouth is, because you'd have to show the cheese
Literally.
and the lard and like everything that
your mouth is.
Yeah, yes. You would have to be like, look at this. Yeah, he was like, oh well, the Brandy Bucks are having a great like festival. Great, cool. I'll have to bring lots of cheese, or I'll have to bring my bread. Oh my god, I have to bring my preserves, and I don't want to. And it would be a bit of a. It was almost
That's
like I can imagine it being like, you know, in like the 18th century or something, when the queen would come or the king would come to visit you, and then you'd have to open the rest of your house if you had like a stately home, because you'd only live in one side of the house because it was too expensive. And you'd have to like spend a load of money to try and get everything new in fashion, and you'd be like, oh my god, my dress is like last season, and then I can imagine it being a bit like that.
Right. Yes. True. Yeah, they're probably a little too genuine as well, I guess. Like
and I think that's kind of shown in other aspects of the buildings that they live in, their settlements, is like, one, the individual gardens. That's a huge like emphasis on not estate level farming that you'd find in the 1800s, but you'd find something that's more individual. So like Samwise's garden, he's always in. He would always, it's individual tending and stuff like that, and everyone has their own little garden, which I think is very sweet and it's very nondescript, and it's kind of community driven, but then at the same time individual too. So there's something about that. Maybe the more plants you have as well tells you what you can store later on. So you'd be very well all your vegetables.
I mean, I'd like to say I mean, luckily I'm married to a gardener, so I do nothing in the garden.
I've got like a tiny patch of potatoes, and I'm like, I'm winning.
Yes, luckily my husband is a professional veggie gardener, so on the one hand, we always have lots of lovely veggies. On the other hand, we always have veggie, the same seasonal veggies. So like if I have to see another turnip, like I swear, like I'm gonna hit the roof.
I would love some turnips. Send them to me. Can you send them?
I'll send them to you.
Send me some.
We're reaching the end of it now, so it's sort of but also that kind of the sort of idea of the garden, and kind of it's that sort of pride in household identity as well. Right? Like it's on the one hand it's community, but I do think in Hobbiton, because they have their own kind of individual houses, and even though the doors are, you know, always open, literally, but like, you know, but then
Possibly.
you have your right, but then you have your own garden, you have your sort of emphasis on your family and your food production and everything, and it's kind of an extension of you rather than it being a communal space. I don't know, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's something about individual, like, even though you're a collective, almost, I think a lot of people in Middle-earth see the Hobbits as sort of homogenous, which is something that Tolkien really plays with in The Hobbit, especially with taking Bilbo out of his Hobbiton. But yeah, I think there's something there that's quite, individual, and I can't quite describe the words. I'm quite lost with the words now.
How about I have an idea.
Okay.
The sun is out. Should we maybe head out into the garden for a little bit and try and pretend to do some gardening, and then we can come back in and we can continue with the recording?
I think that sounds good. And we can maybe build another smile.
That sounds good. Do some digging. Yeah, get our archaeology digging practice in.
Yeah.
I say that. I'm post-ex. I'll watch. I'll supervise.
You'll point. That's all you'll do.
All right. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Oh, excellent work, Ash. That was some really good digging, and the potatoes are looking good.
Yeah, you really helped. You really did help.
You know what? I'll cook them.
You better. I want 7 baked potatoes. Thank you.
Mini baked potatoes. Okay. So we were talking about like individual gardens and everything. And I guess the whole point that they're like tunnels as well also kind of emphasizes that idea of like it being, which is funny because if you think of it biologically, actually tunnels and things are usually from animals that have very big, no, not necessarily. No, sorry,
Where are you going with this?
Again, ladies and gentlemen, that is the problem.
When you said biologically, I was like, where is she going?
I was thinking of like rabbits, like from a biological standpoint, you know, like rabbits and meerkats and like prairie dogs and stuff, right? These animals that have winding tunnel systems, and they're always these very large social groups. But at the same time, you have like foxes and badgers and things, which then are like actually not necessarily as big
We have a burrow.
So anyway, I don't know where I was going with that point. My
I
apologies.
think it's very valid. I still believe in you.
Thanks. Thanks for...
I have a tiny story now you've mentioned rabbits. So I was on a site one day with a lot of people. It was a big site that we were doing, and it was a Bronze Age site. So any tiny little like thing you checked, and obviously there was loads of burrows like everywhere. But one of my friends at the time, he was looking at this tiny burrow and he was like, "Come here." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "It's a burrow. What's going on?" And he was like, "But look." And the rabbit had collected tiny pieces of like pottery, not like prehistoric pottery, but like colourful ones, right? I don't know what rabbits see in or what spectrum or whatever, but they were pushed into the side like really like a mosaic. And I was like, that's so cool. And he was like, I don't know if it's just when it's coming through, like there's just been a load of like little bits of pottery, all different pottery, like kind of that, the post-medieval kind of China looking stuff, very modern stuff.
So cute.
And it was all pushed into the side of its burrow. And I was like, that's really cute.
Rabbits are more socially complex than we give them credit for. Then
perhaps they are, yeah. Perhaps it actually is an artiste and we just ruined its whole little burrow. Right.
And it was there going like, oh, for goodness sake, like, I spent ages on that mosaic. Yeah.
It was really sweet. It was like 3 little pieces, like all squished together. It was really cute.
That's so cute.
Yeah. But back to Hobbits, okay? Name of the game. Right. That's why we're here.
Anyway, I was trying to... Mm-hmm. Sorry, yes?
I'll go for it. No, I want to see where this is going.
Is this a new podcast format? Ash is just allowing Tilly to just go on a random rant.
She'd be like, do you know platypuses? And I'm like, no.
Right. The whole point I was making was I was trying to work out the fact that they are these earth-covered dwellings because and those are things that you do see in the archaeological record sometimes as well, but like what that can tell us about the hobbits themselves. And I guess one of the most important things is that it's therefore then quite tied to the landscape because it takes a lot of effort to create that kind of earth-covered dwelling. But at the same time, I was thinking about the Paleo-Inuit groups, which would create they'd have tents, it was assumed as well, sort of skins that they would stretch out over things like whale bones and stuff to create these sort of domed dwellings, but also earth dwellings. So you basically you dig a deep pit and then you sort of build up a little earth-covered roof on top sort of thing. And that is then your roof. And so, but they were still nomadic groups at this point. So they weren't necessarily settled.
Well, they actually teach those in survival courses as well, don't they? Like, especially if you're in like Alaska or anything with big like mounds of snow, you can dig deep into the snow and then basically that'll protect you. You'd think it would be really cold, but actually it's quite warm inside. So you can use that as like a shelter for a few nights. So I
wonder if that's how the Hobbit holds, how the Smials started originally. It was a small, just sort of non-permanent, like a temporary kind of structure sort of to protect you from the elements and everything, maybe just for a short period while you were gathering whatever it was in that particular area. And then you would gradually get more and more as sort of storage came into it, as things came into it, and then it would just get more and more permanent until eventually you have a permanent settlement like Hobbiton.
Yeah, that's something that's quite interesting because you just reminded me actually of a particular scene in The Rings of Power. Now, I know it's not the book, but it's quite an interesting way that they've sort of broken down and interpreted the book. And there's a point where the Harfoots, they carry everything, or they have big
They've got
caravans. They have caravans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if they can't carry, they leave them behind. Mm-hmm. Which I find is in direct contrast and at odds actually with what we see in the archaeological record, especially in nomadic groups like even now, but also in prehistory. We find that actually people who are hurt or older, have illness, are cared for much more and cared for deeply because these things heal, and you can see that in the osteology. So I find that it kind of is at odds with the idea of Hobbit as a culture, which is a cozy culture, which wants to dig into the ground and be warm and fed, you know? Yeah, I think that's really at odds with it. It was almost like too brutal for a Hobbit, I found. But anyway, that's maybe a bit of a sidetrack, but I would say that archaeologically and throughout history, that's not represented as much in the archaeological record than you see on TV.
Yes. No, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that's also added to the point where archaeology is really interesting in many ways. Obviously, you look at a building or you look at a site and you see things, but the absence of things is also very telling. And if we're looking at hobbits, we're seeing them as a cozy, well-natured society. There is no defensive structure in Hobbiton.
Right.
There is no walls, there's no ditches, there's nothing that would give you an idea that these people fight.
Yes. That's
so
true.
The absence of that tells you a lot about the society and the culture that they're in as well. And the fact that they don't maybe latch their doors.
Yes, right, apparently. Like, they just randomly have swinging doors. It's like saloon doors, basically.
Yeah,
just like constantly swinging back and forth.
Which it makes me wonder if it's a saloon door, right? Or if it was a saloon door.
Right.
Like, why doesn't it open in the middle? Why does it open like the full circle? Because that's, again, not functional. Like,
yes.
You know? Why is it not in the because you see some doors like that would have like a middle like knocker or handle, and they kind of cut around it and then they open up. There's a lot of like Glasgow tenements that have 2 double doors, like, and how you go in and out. So
I mean, it has a perfectly round door like a porthole, painted green with a shiny yellow brass knob in the exact middle. That makes it sound like it's one thing indeed, right?
Yeah, it is. And every iteration you see of the door is actually just one major thing rather than anything else. So yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I don't know why.
Anyway,
again, it just is the lack of defense entirely.
Yes, so we were talking about lack of defense. So indeed, not locking your doors, not all these things. But it's that the whole fact that it's not locked, it's not protected. So it's this idea of like sense of pride in like your family unit and your household and everything, but at the same time you're open like to other people, like you're very social.
Yeah, because like the first thing that Bilbo does, instead of, hiding like I would if someone knocked on my house in the middle of the night, he just like, and he just gets up and opens
He's
the
like,
door.
oh, do you want some food? Oh, and they're like, yes, please. So
even
though he's clearly happy about it, like,
was it the self-defense? Oh no, what is it? What's this phrase? It's like I'm so annoyed at myself. It's I can't remember now. The self-defense something of a potato. That's what people say.
Yes. The defensive capabilities of a potato or something.
Yeah, like you
that,
just
right?
don't think that someone's going to hurt you, so you have your self-awareness of a potato or something.
Yes, probably. Which
would fit a hobbit.
I mean, but then he is in the rest of the book, even though, I mean, gosh, we're jumping ahead so quickly now. But like, for the rest of the book, we learn that he's very good at hiding, right? And that's the whole point. That's why he's a good burglar. So I guess it's that whole thing that they've never had to protect themselves because no one usually finds them.
But that's also interesting about the burglar, because then there must be some reason why Thorin thinks he'd be a good burglar.
I think it's mainly just because Gandalf tells him.
Yes, but like
he's going to be a good burglar.
He's going to be a good burglar. And to be fair, he survives. I would not survive. I would step outside the Hobbiton and I'd die immediately,
instantly,
killed by a carrot or something. Honestly, like. I have the self-awareness of a potato, so I wouldn't. I always think with the riddles in the dark, I would have been dead. Gollum would have ate me. Like there's no way I would have been able to get out of that. But
I think I would have just rambled on, and at some point he would have just gotten bored and gone away.
You would have been stuck to tell him about archaeology. It's like, actually, entanglement by Hodder, and they would have been, oh my god, stop.
Be like, and funnily enough, I met Hodder when I was working at Chattel Hoyuk, and be like,
oh, name drop.
She's talking about Chattel Hoyuk again.
Have you heard of Terry Pratchett?
You know what? I hadn't mentioned him at all this episode. I just want to point out it was
because we're talking about Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit.
It was Ash. I could have brought him in. I'm pretty sure.
Actually, Terry Pratchett's doors aren't circular.
So actually, there's another that live inside tunnels in the ground, and that's the wee free men or the Nakmak Feegle, who are.
Anyway, should we talk about real life things?
No. You brought him up. We're going to talk about Terry Pratchett.
Oh, I regret everything.
Although it is actually kind of funny so the Nakmak Feegle in one of the books, Carpe Jugulum, I think it is, they are living inside a Bronze Age burial mound. And so there's like the old sword and everything, and they bring it through and give it to the king and all these kinds of things. So,
Oh, interesting. I mean, like, possible that you could. I mean, I always think like barrows look quite cozy if you get a little fire going.
Although you have then the barrows in Lord of the Rings, right, which are definitely not cozy with the weights or whatever they're called.
No, I mean, they come in handy, but
yes.
No, I know. I'd be a bit too scared. I also wouldn't survive that far, as we've just already established.
Yes.
But I thought it would be interesting to think about as real life examples of like different types of buildings and how buildings develop over time. So I was thinking of Jarlshof in Shetland.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which has an occupation range from the late Bronze Age up into the 16th century.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that long. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. It's literally a stone, like oval house, which is the earliest structure, which is the late Bronze Age. Then it goes to the Iron Age, which is the cluster of roundhouses built on top of the Bronze Age. Then it's kind of your Iron Age. So you have a broch, which is, if you don't know what a broch is, brochs are only found really in Scotland. They are defensive stone structures. Well, say defensive, people say they're defensive, but who knows? Mm-hmm. They're big stone towers, essentially, with double skinned walls and different floors inside of them. And then post-Broch, in the same Iron Age, you have wheelhouses then built. But then the Broch is no longer there, or it's not really used. Then in the Pictish period, you get other buildings added, and then the Norse come along. And they put longhouses there, and they do a Viking settlement, which is laid over the earlier Pictish structures. Then in the medieval period, you have a whole farmstead, which is established on the site on top. And then in the 16th century, a laird's house sits on top of it. And you can see it in the archaeology, even on the picture. There's pictures of it for plan view, and you can see each and every single bit. It's so fantastic. So Jarlshof has a wide range of building structures.
Or whatever
palimpsest, as we like to call it.
Yes.
That's one of my favourite archaeological words.
Yes. Well, that's like, I can't remember now the site off the top of my head, but there's it's a Norse site somewhere in Scandinavia where they've had like the tree, and then there was evidence that there were sort of depositions and hang on a second.
Ritual. Oh my god, that scared me, Tilly.
Ritual depositions at the tree, and then the tree was cut down to make way for a like standing stone or something, and then the standing stone was knocked down and built on, and it was a church. So it sort of shows the importance of that particular space, basically. And I guess that's the same with Jarlshof, right? Like it must have been a really useful point in the landscape to build on.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it's next to the sea, and it's like channels and things like that. The wet is a very prominent place in the landscape, so it would make sense for anyone who has. And there's also, I find as well, you kind of have, I want to say it now. Ritual. Significance in the fact that people come back to the same site, especially in prehistory. We always say it's ritual. Don't press it again. Oh gosh.
Sorry, that's the last time. I swear that's the last time.
But yeah, there's that kind of like coming back to the same place, and you find that a lot in the Bronze Age, that a lot of Neolithic sites, especially in Scotland and Europe, that they kind of come back to the same site. For why, we don't really know. A lot of it could be guessed that there is maybe some sort of connection to ancestral history, but then you've also kind of got the idea that the actual resources are just really good around there, and it makes sense. Yeah, like you find people, this is why settlements pop up all the time, and that's why they're in the same place. Why our settlements are in the same place? It's because of the resources there.
Yeah. So, and that's probably why Hobbiton, because they even say in this first page of The Hobbit about the view down to the river and everything. So it's on a river, it's near forests, it's near land that can be cultivated. Like it's just a really nice place to be.
Yeah. Exactly. It's cozy and nice, and you have nice soil and nice gardens and sometimes nice people.
Speaking of, should we go out and sit a little bit in the garden and smoke our pipes and watch the people coming past and do some judging?
Oh yes, I particularly like the judging bit.
Yeah, cool. Okay, let's go do that. Well, we hope that you enjoyed this little episode of Am My Trowel, talking about buildings and Hobbit doors, etc. As always, please do like, subscribe, follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Also, leave us a review because that really helps to both support the show and show other people that we're a cool thing. If you're interested in hearing more archaeological content, make sure to check out the other shows on the APN. And if you have any comments about the episode or ideas, or you just want to get in touch, you can find all of our contact information as well as links and further information on what we discussed today in the show notes.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. The Archaeology Podcast Network's chief editor is Rachel Roden. Our executive producer is Ashley Airy. Our social media and newsletter coordinator is Matilda Siebrecht. The APN was founded by Chris Webster and Tristan Boyle on December 1st, 2014. We're supported by our amazing podcast hosts, many volunteers, and listeners like you. Check out membership at www.archpodnet.com/members.
This has been a presentation of the Archaeology Podcast Network. Visit us on the web for show notes and other podcasts at www.archpodnet.com. Contact us at chris@archaeologypodcastnetwork.com.